is Ina. I am the outreach coordinator for Monterey County Elections, and we are going to talk a little bit today about what to expect in the coming election.
So primaries and generals, they have different rules. So for the general election, let's jump into what we are going to expect. So this election is going to be different than all the other elections because of the situation that we're living in right now. So the two main differences are all active registered voters will be receiving a ballot in the mail, regardless if they have signed up to be a vote by mail voter or not. Now, with that said, regardless of receiving your ballot in the mail, voters have many options to return them, and we will have some in-person voting options available. So we will have our early voting location, so our main office, and we are also opening a second early voting location in Seaside for the voters who are closer to the peninsula itself. And then we will have polling places open on election day as well. So starting with vote by mail, to give some background, I don't know if you have heard before these terms being thrown now in media of vote by mail versus absentee voting. So we're going to talk a little bit about the names, where they came from, and what they mean. So before 1978 in California, you needed a requirement or an excuse to be able to vote by mail. After 1978, they removed that requirement, and you no longer needed an excuse. So you didn't have to be absent or sick or anything like that. So in 2007, they changed the name from absentee to just vote by mail. So those two terms, they mean exactly the same thing. The ballot that is sent to voters is exactly the same. It's just the name transitioned from absentee voting to vote by mail. Then on the right, we have a chart of what the percentage of registered voters looks like in Monterey County. So this was on the 14th. So on the 14th, we had this number here, and today it has risen a little bit. We're now at 202,604 voters. So registration numbers, they go up and down every day. So people move into the county, people move out of the county, people pass away or they turn 18. So it's constantly changing. Today, it's National Voter Registration Day, so we hope that by the end of the day, we will have a much larger number. Here you can see that 79% of voters in Monterey County already vote by mail. And 1%, this is our military and overseas voters. So for this 80%, the election is not going to look too different. They will receive their ballot like in previous elections. But for this 20% of voters who are used to voting at the polling places, it will look a little bit different in the sense that they are also going to be receiving a ballot in the mail, which that has not happened before. So what to expect of what you're going to receive at your home. So this is the envelope that you should expect to receive. It's our typical white envelope with a blue stripe and our county logo. And it has some basic information on the back of how to make your vote count, the steps that you need to take, signing the back of your envelope, turning it in, and then our information so that if you have any questions, you can just give us a call and we can help you out. Now, inside of this envelope, you are going to find, of course, your ballot, instructions on how to return and fill out your ballot, a list of drop-off locations. So if you do want to turn it in to a specific location or in person, we have that full list for you. Of course, the I voted sticker, that we cannot go without that. And then the return envelope. The return envelope, this is the second election in which you don't have to put postage. So that is already taken care of. And this is the back of the envelope. So one of the most important parts of voting by mail is signing the back of your envelope. So that signature, we look at it and we compare it to the signature we have in our file. So when you registered to vote, you filled out a registration card, and that is the signature we have on file for a voter. And we compare it to make sure that it is the same voter. If a signature doesn't match, or if a voter forgot to sign the envelope completely, we will get in contact with that voter, and we call it to give the voter an opportunity to cure their signature. So what we do is we call the voter, we send them a piece of paper where they sign it, and then we would have that signature to compare. Another feature that we added for this year is on the top portion, we now have the peel and stick to close your envelope. So we're just trying to keep it as sanitary and safe for everyone. Now, when you are returning your ballot I mentioned before that voters have lots of options. So voters can turn it in through the mail, of course, and no postage is necessary. Or they can just drop it off at one of the many drop off locations we have throughout Monterey County, including 5 24-hour drop boxes. So we have, I think, at least one in every city. And again, that list will be included with the ballot that is sent to the voters. Next, if you want to just drop it off in person, you can go to our early voting sites. So we will have two. One is our main office in Salinas, and the second one is a new one that we're very excited about, which is our satellite office in Embassy Suites in Seaside. Now, they will be open starting October 5th, which is the first day of early voting. So starting October 5th, you can go to any of these locations, any of these drop-off locations, and turn in your ballot. And finally, you can go to the polling places on election day, turn it in there, or you can authorize someone to drop it off for you, whether that be a neighbor, a family member, someone trusted. All they have to do, if you are going to have someone drop it off for you, is you have to authorize it, and they have to fill out this back portion here where they will just put their name, their signature, and their relation to the voter. Now let's go into our in-person options. So as I mentioned before, October 5th is the first day for in-person voting. It's the first day of early voting. So now it's not so much election day, it's election season. So October 5th is that first day of the season, and they can go to these two locations, so our main office and the Embassy Suites in Seaside. Then our polling locations will be open, same as other years, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on election day, and we will have 85 locations throughout Monterey County. So it's a few more than last year even, but locations change. So if you do go to a polling place, just make sure that it is your assigned polling place. And how will you know if it's your assigned polling place? You have many options. One, you can go to our website. There will be a portion where you can put in your address and it'll tell you where you have to go. Secondly, on the back of your voter guide, which we will be sending out beginning of October, it will have the location assigned to you. And if you don't see it there, you can always give us a call and we will let you know. Now, we are asking those voters who decide to vote in person to also help us out. So since we are opening polling places, that means that we need poll workers. Um, so poll workers, essentially, they are the ones who help us out at the polls. They open them, they close them, they help out the voters, they take the ballots, they look at the rosters, which is the book where we have all the names of the people who are assigned to a polling place. And the requirements to be a poll worker are to be 18 years of age or older, to be a US citizen and registered voter in California, or to be a lawful permanent resident. We also take high school students, and they can use the hours that they serve as being poll workers to community hours that go great with their college resumes, or they can also get the stipend as well. If you are a high school student, you need to be at least 16 years of age, and you need parent and teacher authorization because it is a school day. So if you know of anyone who's a high school student and needs these extra hours for their school, they can definitely call us. The next requirement is to read, speak, and write in English. However, bilingual poll workers are highly valued. Next, election day, it's a very, very long day. I don't know if you have ever worked as a poll worker, but it's around 6:30 in the morning to around 9:30 at night. Poll workers are there to open and to close. Now this year, the hours may be a little bit different because since we are sending ballots out to every single active registered voter, we expect to have less people at the polls. But you never know. The next thing that comes with being a poll worker is, of course, going to a training. So there is a 2-hour training where we go over everything you need to know when it comes to being a poll worker. And then you need to have transportation to and from the polling place. And if you have any questions, maybe you just want to find out a little bit more about it, you can definitely call us or email us to both get information or to sign up. Now, before election day comes around, it's good to be prepared. So the first thing that we recommend is checking your voter status. So you go to voterstatus.sos.ca.gov. You put in some basic information. I believe they ask for your date of birth, the last four of your social, and maybe your driver's license. And then your voter record pops up. And there you can see if you have the most up-to-date address, the most up-to-date name. Maybe you had a name change or something like that. You just make sure that all your information is correct. Another way to do this, if the website isn't working or that's not an option, you can give us a call and we can check everything for you. We will be asking for your date of birth because we have to verify that it is a voter over the phone, and we can give you that information. Now, once you've checked your voter status and everything is good to go, then all you have to do is wait for your ballot to arrive. If it's not good, this is an opportunity to re-register, update your information, and be prepared before the election comes around. So if you need to update anything, you would just go to registertovote.ca.gov and re-register. So again, if you have a name change, an address change, even a signature change, it's always recommended to re-register to vote. Now, two other features that will help in voter preparedness are tracking your ballot. So you can sign up to Where's My Ballot, and you will receive notifications as to when your ballot is generated and sent to you. And then when you send it back, we will give you notification of when it arrived to our office, when it was counted. Also, if you forgot to sign your envelope, it will send you a notice saying that we need some information from the voter. And finally, you can sign up for Informed Delivery. So both of these services are free services. Informed Delivery is a service by the USPS. And what it is they scan the pieces of mail that will arrive to your home, and they let you know this will arrive to your home on this day. So you will be able to see your ballot before it even gets to you. So you will know that it's on its way. So once you're prepared and you're ready to go, it's always good to have a voting plan, whether you are going to vote by mail or if you choose to vote in person. It's good to just know exactly what you're going to do when you're going to do it. So if you're going to vote by mail, starting October 5th, you can turn in your ballot. So it's important to know where you're going to return it. So look at that list of return locations and find out which one is more convenient for you. Then if you're going to vote in person, same thing. Find out where you're going to vote. Are you going to go to the early voting locations and vote ahead of time, or are you going to wait until election day? If you're going to wait until election day, where's your polling place? These are all things that you can know well ahead of election day so that you can be prepared. Now, we are asking voters who will go to the polls to please wear a mask and practice social distancing. Something else that we offer for in-person assistance is curbside voting. So you get that in-person experience from the safety of your car. So you don't even have to leave your car. What happens then is you just drive up to either the early voting locations or to your polling place, and a poll worker will give you your ballot inside of your car. Once you're done filling it out and voting, you just give it back to the poll worker and they put it in the box, and that's it. So we have a lot of options for voters, and it's just a matter of choosing which one is more appropriate for you. Here we have some important dates. So October 5th, I've mentioned this date a lot because it's the first day of election season. So it's the first day that early voting begins. It's the day that our offices open to the public, and it is also the day by which ballots will be sent to voters. Next, we have October 19th. This is the last day to register to vote. So if you do have to update anything on your voter record, you need to do it on or before October 19th. Now, let's say you forgot to register to vote and it's October 20th. That does not mean that you cannot vote. You would still be able to vote. So October 20th to November 3rd, it's our conditional voter registration period. So this means that you have to take an extra step. We do everything we can to let voters vote. So what happens here is you get the same ballot as everyone else. You just have to put it in the conditional voter registration envelope. And essentially what that is you are registering and voting at the same time. So what we do is in our office, we get that big envelope and we check, we make sure that the information on that envelope is good and you are an eligible voter. Once we verify that, we extract and we count. And then finally, we have the last day of election season, election day. This is the last day to return the ballots that were mailed to you, whether that be in our office or by mail. So as long as it is post stamped by that day, you're good to go. It's always good to, again, be prepared, take care of it beforehand, but that would be the limit, the last day to do everything. So the next thing I want to talk about is contacting us and getting the right information. So nowadays we get information everywhere we go, and it is really important to know if it's official information. Maybe we get a piece of news that applies to a different state and not to California. Therefore, it may not be applicable to California. So rules regarding elections change depending on the state you're in. So it's important, again, to just get to the bottom of the sources that apply to you. So for Monterey County, there are two official sources, and that is the California Secretary of State and then Monterey County Elections. So if you need any piece of information, or if you're doubting, maybe you heard something and you want to make sure that that applies to you, just give us a call or go to our website and find out if that applies. So here I have just all our basic information. You're welcome to take a screenshot of this slide because it does come in handy. So we have our address, our phone number, our poll worker phone number, our email, the Secretary of State address, and then the last two links are links to our website. The first one just covers some basic information about this coming election. And the last one is all the drop-off locations. So we will be sending that list again to all voters, but if you want to check it out now, you are welcome to do so. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to go over them with you.
If I wanted to vote in person in November 3rd, do I have to take my ballot to drop it, or there is going to be like a new ballot for me there?
Yes, and that is a great question. I'm glad you brought it up. So all voters who are going to go vote in person must take that ballot that we sent to them so that
Okay.
they can surrender it and then get a new one. You're welcome to just use that one that we send to you, but if you prefer, you can definitely just surrender that one and get a new one.
And the
If a
ballot has to be like fill it out?
No. You can just take that envelope that we send to you and drop it off
Oh,
and get a
okay.
new one. Yeah. So if a voter, let's say, misplaces, forgot, or accidentally threw away the ballot that was sent to them, they are going to have to vote conditionally, what I mentioned before. So it's the
Mm-hmm.
same ballot, just a different envelope. So in order to avoid that, just take your ballot, definitely. And if you don't want to wait until election day and you still want to vote in person, you can definitely come into our office and you can vote here.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for all the information.
Of course, anytime. Thank you for joining us.